I'm existentially oriented, which is to say that I think that what you hold to be true is best determined as a consequence of an analysis of your actions rather than as a consequence of an analysis of what you purport to believe.
Hi, I'm Adam, and this is Think Club. This is Steve Woodford, or Rationality Rules. A bunch of people on both sides of the pro-religion, anti-theist debate have been sending me his videos. Anti-theists are saying, this is the guy who destroyed Jordan Peterson. And the pro-religion people are just asking me for my opinion. So I pulled out a video. He's done about 8 videos debunking Jordan Peterson. And some of them I think are just really laughable. Like I don't know how I would dive in and respond. This one, I think something interesting can be said about Jordan Peterson and also about Mr. Rationality Rules. So let me play his intro for you.
On the 29th of March 2018, Jordan Peterson visited Lafayette College to give a lecture and Q&A session, and the students' questions were absolutely brilliant, because unlike most questions posed to Jordan, theirs caused him to truly elaborate on his beliefs, and so, grand job people. Anyhow, one of those questions was,
how do you define what is considered religious?
And Jordan's response was,
religious is what you act out.
Which is to say that since everyone acts out, everyone is religious. This is Everyone is Religious debunked.
But not really. So I love how these people are just totally triggered over Jordan Peterson. I think we all kind of enjoy that triggering that Jordan Peterson seems to do. Now, I always thought in this exchange at Lafayette College, I just assumed that Jordan Peterson was using the Durkheimian definition of religious psychology. Now, maybe I've never had a problem with this idea that Peterson puts forward because, I've studied sociology, and Dr. Peterson's definition of religious systems as what you act out is so close to the definition of religion put forward by the father of modern social science, the French sociologist Émile Durkheim, that I just assumed this was the definition that he was using.
The academic definition of religion is usually something like Émile Durkheim's definition. A religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things, that is to say, things set apart and forbidden, beliefs and practices which unite into one single moral community called a church, all those who adhere to them.
So this definition of religion is just a set of beliefs and practices that a community adheres to, that they orient their behavior around. And Jordan Peterson is defining religion as...
Sam
Religious
Harris.
is what you act out.
What's that?
Religious is what you act out.
Anything you act out.
Everything you act out is predicated on your implicit axioms. And the system of implicit axioms that you hold as primary is your religious belief system.
A religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things, that is to say, things set apart and forbidden, beliefs and practices which unite into one single moral community called a church, all those who adhere to them.
Now, the reason these implicit axioms are set aside and forbidden is because you're building an entire belief system on them. They are your root assumptions about the world, your sacred beliefs. They are the foundation of your worldview. They are the foundation of your community. The anti-theist community is orienting their behavior around a sacred belief, and this is why it is logical for some of us using Jordan Peterson's definition of religion or Émile Durkheim's definition of religion to say that you are building a belief system, building a community on a root assumption about the world. So I, like Dr. Jordan Peterson, am of the belief that
what you hold to be true is best determined as a consequence of an analysis of your actions rather than as a consequence of an analysis of what you purport to believe.
Mr. Rules here is a member of a group here on YouTube that, as I have said in previous videos, sees religion through this common anti-religious narrative popularized by famous anti-theists like Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Matt Dillahunty. They have a belief system that assumes religion is some kind of mind virus, some kind of parasite feeding off of society, turning what would be rational, scientifically minded people into inept, superstitious losers. Now, this is a belief based on a central axiom, and that axiom is that truth, factual truth, scientific truth, objective truth, whatever you want to call it, is more important, more valuable than narrative truth or religious stories or inherited wisdom, or whatever you want to call those things.
That hierarchy of values has an axiomatic, it's based on axioms. And the probability that you understand them is very low, because generally people don't understand their axioms. But that axiomatic system is essentially your religious system.
So this idea that factual scientific truth is more valuable than inherited wisdom or tradition, or what they would call dogma, is the axiom that is at the base of the anti-theist belief system. It is at the base of their entire worldview. Their entire outlook on life is constructed around this axiomatic belief. Now, dare I say, this is their religious system. Their religious system relies on this belief that religion is dogmatic, that religion is untrue, and that by extension, religion is dangerous. Now, I don't know if Mr. Rationality Rules has read anything outside of the Webster's Dictionary. He is a huge fan of the dictionary. But if you use this idea, this concept, this notion of religious systems as I put forward here, a lot of the things that Mr. Rationality Rules says in his video just make absolutely no sense at all.
If we say that religious is what you act out, then all of our actions are religious.
No, not really, because your actions would have to be actions that violate the values of your communal belief system.
And the reason he can say that everyone is religious
You can't be a non-believer in your action.
is because he's created a new definition of religion that's somehow more vague than the already useless, a pursuit or interest followed with great devotion.
Says the guy who is pursuing the interest of atheist activism with great devotion. See, this is just comedy. This is comedy here.
Most of his Christian followers simply assume that he's using their language and that he therefore shares their beliefs, while most of his irreligious followers feel confused and often convince themselves that he's just being poetic.
That's funny because, I don't feel confused about this. I really don't feel confused at all. Okay, I'm going to give you one last thing. I'm going to play a clip here from a video about Emil Durkheim. Now, if you watch Jordan Peterson and you are a Jordan Peterson fan and you're absorbing what he's saying and interested in his outlook on life, you probably know that he is about the search for meaning. The book 12 Rules for Life is an antidote to chaos. He thinks society is trending in the wrong direction. So here's another little quinky dink from a video on Emil Durkheim that, might sound a little familiar to you.
Durkheim was himself an atheist, but he worried that religion had become implausible just as its best sides, its communal side, would have been most useful to repair the fraying social fabric. Despite its factual errors and its fantastical dimensions, Durkheim appreciated religion. He knew that the sense of community and consolation that religion offer are highly important to people. Capitalism has, as yet, offered nothing to replace this with. Science certainly doesn't offer the same opportunities for powerful, shared experiences. The periodic table might well possess a transcendent beauty and be a marvel of intellectual elegance, but it can't draw a society together around it. Emil Durkheim was a master diagnostician of our ills. He shows us that modern economies put tremendous pressures on individuals and leave them dangerously bereft of authoritative guidance and communal solace. We are all Durkheim's heirs and still have ahead of us the task that he grappled with, how we can create new ways of belonging, how we can take some of the pressure off individuals and find a more correct balance between freedom and solidarity, and how to generate ideologies that will allow us not to be so tough on ourselves for our failures and our setbacks.
Well, first of all, if you don't have a purpose, it isn't that your life becomes neutral in a meaningless sense. It's that your life becomes characterized by unbearable suffering. Because the baseline condition of life is something like unbearable suffering.